Hello everyone and welcome back to the Limit of Adhesion. My name is Dom and today we're going to be going through 5 points to help you try and survive the first lap of your race on iRacing. Now we all know that you cannot win a race on the opening lap, but you can certainly lose it. And we've seen plenty of opening lap crashes throughout our time on iRacing, and we've discovered some key learnings along the way that we can share today with you to help keep you out of trouble on the opening lap. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the first point, which is practicing your starts. So we've just released a video on standing starts in different vehicles, and of course in iRacing you can either do a standing start or a rolling start. I would recommend practicing both of those before you're jumping into the race. Even if it's a rolling start on an oval, something like that, the same ideas still apply, because if you skip a gear on an oval, you're probably going to get rear-ended and crash out. Or if you've not practiced a standing start in a higher powered vehicle like a Formula 3 or a Radical, then chances are you're going to end up having a bit of a start like this, and it's not going to go very well for you. So make sure you've done a couple of practice starts, either against AI or just in a private test session. Just make sure you're comfortable with getting your own car off the line before you're jumping into a race with others. Okay, on to point number 2. So we've made it off the line, we're cruising down towards turn 1, but we're towards the back of the grid. There's a huge bottleneck in front of us, so we need to be prepared for that. Even if you watch onboard cameras from pro racers like in F1, the guys at the back of the grid are almost coming to a standstill at turn 1 because there's so many cars trying to fit into a gap where everyone's practiced going single file on flying laps, and suddenly there's maybe 3 cars wide, and so it just makes that bottleneck effect, and so the cars at the grid are literally almost having to stop on the track. So be prepared for that and anticipate it. When I'm racing, I actually like to get onto the brakes almost twice as early, but just really light. That shows my brake lights in the cars that have got brake lights to the cars behind, so they know what to expect, that I'm slowing down a little bit earlier, and it means I can just roll into the corner. And if there's any problems, I can react accordingly, i.e. press the brakes harder if I need to, or maybe change my line to avoid a spun car or something like that. Okay, great stuff. So we've made it through turn 1 now. We're still in a great big bunch of cars, and we've still ended up side by side with another car. So if you're not on the racing line, you can't just swerve across and take the normal racing line and just act like you're the only car on track. You are on a grid full of other cars, so you need to respond accordingly to that, and you need to wait for the best opportunity to rejoin the racing line. And that might mean that you're going side by side with another car for a couple of corners, but you need to make sure that you're leaving each other space, but then when you do get that opportunity to get back onto the racing line, that you take that so that you can maximise your speed for the rest of the lap. Okay, on to point 4 then. So we've made it through the opening corners, we've got back in line, we're on the racing line again. We go absolutely full beans into the next corner and we spin out because we've forgotten that our tyres are cold and we've gone in far too hot. This is a mistake that we see all the time in iRacing. The practice sessions before a race starts will let you into the session up to 30 minutes before the race starts. So if you go out the pits 30 minutes before the race and you're just lapping all the way up until the race server opens, then you're going to have got used to driving on a really hot, race-ready car. If you then take that same feeling for the car into the race, into the opening laps, then you're going to be pushing too hard for the car that you've actually got beneath you, and chances are you're going to spin out and crash. And it's not just tyres, it's brakes as well. So depending on what car you're driving, the effect of cold brakes is more or less exaggerated. The first example that's coming to my mind is when I'm driving the Radical. The first lap or so, I extend my braking zone by at least 50 metres. We spoke about rolling into turn 1, and that helps to counteract the cold brakes because you're really extending that braking zone and you're not just suddenly trying to slam on the brakes. But even later on in the lap, they're still not going to be up to operating race temperatures, so you still need to be careful with that. And remember, brake temperature helps to create tyre temperature as well. So if your brakes are cold, your tyre's going to be cold, but they will come up in temperature together to help give you the grip and performance that you're probably expecting from your car. So don't push it too soon, just be patient with your vehicle while it warms up to temp, and then you can push after the first maybe couple of laps or so. The 5th and final point for this video is to know who you're racing at the start of the race. If there's someone behind you, really close in your mirrors, acting really aggressively with the car's body language, maybe showing the nose to the inside and putting you under a lot of pressure, think to yourself, is this fight worth it on lap 1? The amount of times that's happened to me, I've let the person go past, and by the end of the lap they've crashed themselves out anyway because they're not following the advice in point 4 that we've just spoken about. the chances are you're going to end up getting that position back. So don't worry too much about trying to overly defend a position on the opening lap and putting yourself under pressure, because it's generally when we're under pressure that we start making our own mistakes and we might go along in a braking zone or spin on an exit or something like that. So look after your own race. If someone's acting or looking like they're going to be much faster than you through the race, then find a safe way to let them past. Hopefully that doesn't lose you too much time as well. Now you can just think about your own race and getting in the rhythm and getting in the flow. Churn out that good consistent race pace up until the checkered flag and hopefully make some positions up along the way. So that's going to be everything for this video. Hope you found it useful, and if you've got any further points to add, you can drop them in the comments below. If you're interested in joining our GT3 League, our Formula 3 League or our Oval League, links to the Discord will be down below or the message is up on the screen right now. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and don't forget to like this video if you have enjoyed it or found it useful. Thanks so much for watching and we'll see you later.